I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time.
Hello, welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I am so excited to introduce you to women that are change makers. You know, ordinary women doing extraordinary things on this planet because they want to make a difference, because they want to show us that we live in a field of infinite possibilities where we can create an extraordinary life. That's exciting to me. That's inspiring to me because I think this moment in time is a time for women emerging, for the feminine to emerge, because we bring a whole nother level of care and nurturing, kindness, beauty, and grace. So I'm really glad you're here. We do this every week. You meet a new woman. You know, you can come and subscribe. We're on Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker. We're on YouTube and video. Just look for Women Awakening with Cynthia James. You can also go to my website, cynthiajames.net. There's lots of gifts for you. You can join my community and get my once a month newsletter. So I'm excited. I get to meet someone new today and introduce you to her. Her name is Danijela Saponjic, and she is an esteemed feng shui and space healing master, renowned for her unique approach that seamlessly merges the best practices of both modalities. And with over 20 years of experience, she's established herself as a transformative force in the industry because she's dedicated to consulting businesses and homeowners, purifying energy fields, and creating harmonious spaces that thrive and evolve. And if that wasn't enough, she excels in various other roles. She's a CEO and investor, and she demonstrates exceptional business acumen, successfully navigating the complexities of the corporate world. Danijela, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited.
Hey, Cynthia, thank you so much for having me. I'm also very excited to be on your show today.
And I love it when I get to be with women around the world, because a lot of times, you know, we get caught up in our own little spheres and our own little silos, and we don't even realize how spectacular things are in other parts of the world. So I want to start with, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Because I'm sure you didn't come on the planet going, well, I'm a feng shui master.
No, not at all. So I grew up in Germany, although my roots are in the Balkan countries, former Yugoslavian country. So my parents they came to Germany in the 70s, and they were just like workers in factories there. So following their path, I should have been like also like I would say a worker. So my parents, I remember my mom telling me, well, you should become a hairdresser because then you can build your own business, right? I was like, well, own business? Well, but hairdresser? I don't think so, mom. So, but I didn't have the idea that I want to work with space. So it's not a childhood dream. I went more into the very masculine world of, okay, let's do this, let's study, I even planned my first child. Like yeah, it's a crazy story. I really planned it so he could come he could be born when I'm finished with one semester at the university, so that I don't have to take a break, right? And he did great, right? So I was in a very structured masculine way, and everything fell apart when I finished and I was looking for a job. And the industry, the corporate world went like, well, you're young, you have a child, and you are like highly educated, but we are not going to take you because you could become pregnant again, this whole story. And I was devastated at the moment. This is the moment where feng shui crossed my path. It was like, if you change something in your space, if you start decluttering, something will change in your life. And Cynthia, I didn't believe it because I was so caught up in this world where we need to like do this to get that. and I was like planning out my life, my career, working in a corporate world, going into marketing, that something else just wasn't there. And so things didn't get better. And I told my husband, let's just try this thing with this decluttering stuff. I mean, it's 2004, so it's like a long way back. And we did it, and some things started to shift, some things started to fall in place. And this is where my curiosity was piqued. And I was like, okay, let's dive deeper into this modality. But now looking back, I know I call them masters of life. So this is my destiny, my guides, however, and they knew that I would not stop the path except they put like a hard stop to it. And this is what they did. So I got to learn this amazing feng shui philosophy when I was only 26.
Wow. Well, okay. There's a whole lot to unpack there. That's so great. Because a couple of things I want to say. You know, in the United States, you can't say to women, we can't hire you because you're too young and you have a child, because that's an HR issue. But I'm sure every woman listening here has been turned down for some reason that was ill-advised. And so, and
Mhm.
I love that some part of you said, it's like one door closes, another door opens, you know, and how do I create the space for it to
Right.
come in? And I love that your husband said, okay, let's do that. I'm right along with you. So, um, let's talk about what's the difference between feng shui and space healing.
Mhm. So feng shui is a beautiful modality to work with the chi, with the energy, life force energy in your space at this moment of time to optimize it, so that we can create a life in flow and vitality. Space healing is a modality where we look into the past of the earth. What is the past, which is the earth still like storing? Because we are not the first humans on this planet, Cynthia. And we have ancestors, and we've been here for quite a while, and we leave traces. We celebrate, we die, we have I don't know, like we have wars, we have battles, we like whatever humans past is, what we have lived through, our earth has stored it. And only because we own a beautiful piece of land or a beautiful house, it doesn't mean that the energy of the house is good and vibrant and healthy. Because if you build a house on an old cemetery, which is a very, very natural like piece, right, of our world and our lives, you cannot get vital energy, no matter how beautiful the piece of land is. So now, people tell me, of course, I wouldn't build my house on a former cemetery. Of course, you wouldn't. But what if you don't know? What if the energy
Right,
of the cemetery is like 1,000 years old?
right.
And so, and this is the path of the space healing, and this is a gift which has been given to me, to be able to connect to the earth and really to see what happened, and then I can do the rituals and the blessings the piece of land needs to be restored into its like virgin energy, and which is then helping us to thrive and to live a better life.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, they've made movies about this kind of stuff, and the cynics are like, well, that can't happen. That's just the movies. But energy is eternal. And so knowing where energy is and if it supports you and supports your life is a really big thing. And so then once you get clear about that space is clear, then you get to go into the space in which you live, which is where feng shui comes in. Yes?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes it's really a pity when you see people struggling and they are trying like so many things to get back on track. And then when I talk to them, it's like, oh, since we moved into this home. And when I hear this, I'm like, okay, what is happening here? Right? So, and very often it's not the feng shui because it's stored in the earth, and feng shui cannot help us heal what's happened in the past.
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I love that. So I wanna talk about, I can see this for excuse me, for individuals But how do you bring this into, you're working with people in the corporate world, you're working with leaders. How do you bring this in?
Oh, this is just a few weeks ago. I had a big consultation with a company which is building like blocks when you build houses. I don't know how to say it in English. So,
Like
they have
cement
this.
blocks?
Right. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Like a big company in Germany. And the thing is that the CEO of the company is very spiritual. So I have worked with him on his homes already. And he's like, okay, the old CEO is going, I'm coming. And I just feel that something just doesn't fit. So it feels like this whole space, the company is doing fine, but the whole space feels like it's caught in the past. So, and then of course, he's like, okay, I need to explain this to the board that we are spending the money on something which I cannot really explain, but they just need to trust my judgment and my feeling as a CEO. And I've been with this company for 30 years. And I know something is not like there, there is some potential we are not using. And this is the reason why I'm bringing you into our team. So when I go into the corporate world, I'm usually brought in by the CEOs who are already spiritual, who are already using these techniques in their private lives. And then they're like, but well, what could happen with our company if we could use this in our companies as well? And this is the path how it goes.
Sorry, because I was coughing, I put my mute on. So that's beautiful, but this is important because, ladies, what I want you to know is she's talking about this in terms of a corporation, but this can be applied to your business life, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially if you're a businesswoman, you are a private and a businesswoman too. You are like, you have two. And when I'm asked, like, what do I feng shui or space heal, my business or my home? Well, both, because you are both, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I want to talk about how to create a space that reflects your future self. I was very interested when I read that in your bio. I mean, how do you know what your future self wants? And how do you create the space?
Well, if you're not, there are so many different meditations and approaches to connect with your future self, but usually you can just take your vision, which you're holding right now. And in feng shui, we have the sentence, what you see is what you get. Now, if you connect those two pieces, like, okay, what is my vision? How do I feel when I have accomplished my vision? And then you go into your home and you just feel into your home or your office. And then you could say, okay, if I'm feeling like I'm accomplished my vision, would my space look the same as it is now? Would I have this desk? Would I have this pencil? Would I have the painting on the wall? Would I have this sofa? Like, and then, people often say, well, but I cannot move and I cannot buy a new sofa. And you can start with the really small, subtle things, which give you the feeling on a very regular basis, like, oh, when I'm writing with this pen, this is my winning pen. And even with the pen, you connect to your vision. And the thing is, Cynthia, with this future selfing, you are not constantly thinking about your vision. You are bringing your vision into your space. So your
Ah,
subconscious mind is like, oh, this pen is connected to this vision. And, it rattles off like the whole vision without you meditating or constantly thinking about what you want to achieve.
yeah. Well, you know what's interesting about that? Because I've had this experience. I'm so grateful that you're talking about this. That, when you clean up your space, all of a sudden you can feel an energy shift. So
Mhm.
if you are being conscious about your space connecting to your vision, there has to be a feeling that goes with that, correct?
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
okay. So here I am. I'm starting a new business and I'm fixing my office and I've got this vision. Um, and I'm really starting, from the ground up. So I'm really creating as I go. Tell me three things you would tell this person to do that would be important for that space and the energy of it.
Mhm. Okay, so the first thing is when you sit at your desk and when you look up, be cautious or be mindful of what you see. So the things we see, like we are subconsciously seeing, and which we are surrounding ourselves with, they are having a huge impact on our subconscious mind. So if you want to conquer the world, you might want to see, I don't know, maybe a globus or a globe, like or if you want to be really famous in a certain city, maybe you have a skyline of this city. So it doesn't have to be your vision board. It can be something which is just reminding your subconscious mind what your vision is. So this is one piece. Another piece is always to watch out. It's just pure feng shui, to have a secure back. So your back should be not facing a door. Just be mindful that your subconscious mind can go like, oh, I'm relaxed because I know I cannot be attacked from the behind. It's
Right.
really subconsciously. So you have all your energy and your attention in the moment. Because why is it important? Opportunities are coming our way, and if we are not awake, we will miss the opportunity. And we are not awake if our energy and our focus is tied up in some, like, oh, I could be slaughtered from the back thing from, I don't know, thousands and thousands of years old, but it's still in our bodies, it's still in our system. So we don't need this distraction. And the third thing, which I would recommend, is just to think about, although if you don't maybe know how your vision is going to play out, which is already, we don't always need to know the how. We only want to know, like, okay, what's the goal? How do I feel when I'm like there? And for me, I always tell this story. It's crystal glasses. I love luxury. I love, like, and when you are at a beautiful restaurant in a beautiful hotel, they serve you your drinks in crystal glasses. So I bought those crystal glasses, right? And I'm like, I'm drinking from them, and instantly I'm in this feeling of abundance, of beauty, of everything, even though I'm sitting just at my home or at my office. So just choose one piece which is connecting you to your big vision, the feeling of the big vision, and just place it and use it in your everyday life.
This is so great, because I was just, as I was listening to you, I was looking around my office, and there's a few things that are super important to me. One is education. So my bookcase is right in front of me with fabulous books. And over on the right, I have a money tree that's right above an altar. And so it so because spirituality is very important to me, and financial freedom. I want to be financially free. So I love that you're saying that. And ladies, I hope you heard, you don't have your back to the door. You want to feel safe. And safety for women is a big deal. It's a really big deal. So if I wanted to start learning about feng shui, you know, do I get books? Do I look online so I can start, because I can come to you, but for those of us who are researchers, where would I start?
Okay, so usually you start with books. And my recommendation, this is also how I started. My recommendation is just try to stick like to one or two books. Don't buy too many, because there are so many different approaches to feng shui, and they are all right. There is not a wrong approach. They're just different, because every master had his own approach, and and the students, everybody who writes a book puts adds something to it. So you could get confused if you look through like 10 books or something. So just stick to one or two and just follow the path. And the first thing is always, when if you want to start, the one thing, Cynthia, is reading about feng shui and starting to implement the tips. The other thing is experiencing it. And if you want to start experiencing feng shui, is start decluttering. You don't
Yes.
need a book for it. The first thing is, because in feng shui, the main thing is about the flow of life force energy. And if the life force energy doesn't have the space to flow because the space is too cluttered, then we can put every feng shui remedy in this world and it wouldn't work because the chi is not flowing. So this would be like, I mean, decluttering has really changed my life. And I didn't have a book. I was just like, I read an article. I was like, oh, it says throw away everything you don't need. Okay, let's do that. And this is what my approach, right? This is how I started.
I love it. Well, it's really interesting. And I want to say this to you, but I want to say this to the women. At the end of the year, I had this pull. It was this extraordinary inner pull to declutter, to clean, to clear out. And I think that, I know women who are pregnant say that that happens to them just before the baby is born. They just want to have everything be organized. But I think there's something powerful about that, like listening to that inner voice and creating space for what you want to come in. How do people find you?
I will tell you this in a second because I have another piece I just want to add to it. When
Okay.
you declutter, you release energy. So be intentional, because if you release energy and you don't have an intent for the energy there to flow, it will just do the same what it did. It will recreate the old path. So in order to change the path, just set an intention. Just, just tell the energy what to do, what you want to invite in your life, because you don't want to recreate the same thing over and over again.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
This,
Okay,
I
so how
just
do
needed
people
to add
find you?
this. Okay, the best way is you can find me on Instagram, Unfolding Space, and then also my website, unfoldingspace.com.
Unfolding, just all one word, or is there a dash or anything
No,
in there?
there is a minus between.
Okay.
Unfolding
Unfolding
minus
dot a dash
space.com.
space. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, you're wonderful. And I asked my guest the same last question. This show is called Women Awakening. And so I want to know for you, what is the most important thing about women awakening on this planet in this moment?
So for me, it's going back into yielding and going back into knowing that our power doesn't lie into going forward, but into receiving and opening up and listening and then taking action. So this is what I deeply, deeply feel at the moment as a big shift for women, to go back to themselves, because it's going to be very, very important in the future.
100% agree. Well, Daniela, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing and that you've come here to share with us possibilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Cynthia.
So, ladies, I end this show the same way with different words. You know, you are a spark of the divine. You are extraordinary. You're unique. You're unrepeatable, in fact. And so, why not find ways to create space and open to the gifts that want to come through you in support of humanity? This is a beautiful time on the planet for us to thrive. Thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I'll see you next time.